Well, today's the day. As you can see, blinding sun out there, rather nice. Table outside, al fresco. And here's what we're going to be cooking to start with. For the next half an hour, we're going to be chopping these vegetables: fennel, pepper, orange, zest, celery, onions, chili. Nice therapeutic way to while away about half an hour, but extremely boring to watch. So I'm going to make it all happen instantaneously by doing this. Paysan, paysan, we haven't got a theme song. How about that? All done, nice and sliced, no digits missing. Chopped a nice big chili there as well, so it's only a matter of time before I start scratching my eyes and start screaming. But before I do that, I'm going to stick this into this pot and I'm going to slowly let it sweat down. It's a horrible expression, but that's what's going to happen. Okay, in we go. There we go, that's everything in there now. There's the chopped celery, the fennel, the garlic, the leeks, the peppers, the chili, everything. And we're going to just gently let that cook away so it softens for about 10 minutes. There you are. So as you can see, it's softened, it's gone a slightly golden hue, like Hugh Jackman, he's a golden hue. But it hasn't burned, it hasn't gone brown. You don't want that. You don't want it on a blisteringly hot heat. Over here, we have our old friend from the last session, Mr. Fish Soup, which I've got on a hot heat. Well, I've heated it up to reduce it a little bit further from last night. And it's important that it is a little bit hot as well, because you don't want to be spooning cold stock onto something that's already cooking. It will slow things down. So you want it a little warm when you're doing this, which I'm about to do now. Just as soon as I've added these. 1 tablespoon of tomato puree, 1 400 milliliter can of chopped tomatoes, a good helping of dried basil. Then go out and harvest one of your organs, and then you might be able to afford some saffron. If you don't fancy going, in for a penny in for a pound, shelling out the price of raw opium for a few strands of saffron, a little teaspoon of turmeric. Good. And now, in a marked contrast to yesterday's showboatery, I'm going to ladle in this rather glorious stock. If it goes a little bit like sort of wallpaper paste when it's chilled, that's fine. It's supposed to. It's one of its curious charms. This does take forever. If I had a montage of a potter's wheel or something like that, this is when this would go on. Well, that took forever, but that was totally worth it. Now then, what you're left with is this. And basically bring this to the boil and then let it simmer for about half an hour. While that's all cooking away, that's an interesting angle, isn't it? Look at my massive knife. I'm going to zest an orange, like this. And then there's the small matter of the fish in the fish soup. And for this one, I'm using this large fillet of coley. Coley's got something of a sort of sniffy reputation as one of cod's lesser cousins. But in fish soup, particularly the ones in France, you'll find that they use things like rockfish and dogfish and wrasse and stuff like that. They're not the most glamorous ones, but they hold. That's the thing. If you put something like cod into this, it'll just disappear like aspirin. You'll stand no chance. What we're going to do is cut this into small cubes, and they'll hold. They're not going to disintegrate like they would if you use something. Something like sea bass would just evaporate. So having first gone through it with a pair of pliers to make sure that it's bone free, as free as the wind blows, I'm going to take it off its skin and then cut him into little pieces, much like the Pink Floyd song. Comme ça. And so now half an hour has passed, so it's in with the orange zest, in with Senor Coley, and 1 teaspoon of pastis. There you go. That right there is our fish soup. And yes, I did burn my mouth. Really, really hurts. Ordinarily that would be it, but tonight, special guest arriving any second now. What I'm going to do is add these peeled new potatoes, which I'm going to stick in. First of all, when they come out, they should they'll take on that nice kind of saffrony golden colour. And also, probably in about 10 minutes after that, I'm going to add these rather splendid monkfish tails and these jumbo king prawns. I was hoping to get some nice big, huge crevettes, like some Aussie shrimps, but we have to make certain concessions to the pandemic.
And as for advice on wine, I'm going to have to consult the oracle.
Yeah. Bonjour. Bonjour. All right, so here's the big question. Wine. What wine would you serve? But bear in mind, it's a nice hot day. Let's hope.
Something crisp. Well, I think you really, if you're going to make a big hearty fish soup, because it is really it's a fisherman's soup rather than a fish soup, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's not filtered. It's got all the bits in it.
Yeah.
I couldn't look much further than a really good gutsy rosé.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Well, a Minervois or it's a big heavy one.
They make so many great rosés around here. You know.
Provence rosés tend to be a bit pale and not quite so gutsy.
Yeah. You want? I mean, if you find a nice gutsy rosé with plenty of Syrah in it, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Shiraz, as they call it in Australia. That's the kind of thing.
Well,
you're going to make the rouille and the gruyere.
I've got all that. Splendid.
Okay.
And I'm going to serve it with these toasted.
And to serve, I've baked these croûtes, which I've slathered in olive oil with black pepper and salt. I've grated a load of Gruyere cheese, and we're going to serve it all with Mr. Rui from yesterday. For the wine, I followed Dad's advice. I popped down to Tanner's, and I got this rather splendid Lebanese rosé, very Syrah heavy.
I thought it was the 70s though. But they would.
Bravo. Super.
Please.
Thank you, Kate. I have my spoon. When you said that,
It's like food.
it's surprise.
Food porn, yeah. Right, being is sad part of that, isn't it?
And that's it, it's done. It's wonderful. Listen, bouillabaisse is one of these dishes. It's like a pot of pho or a cassoulet. It's one of these kind of semi-mythical dishes that have, you meet anybody in France and say, oh, I know how to make this is the definitive version, and everybody else is lying, they're out of their minds. And what they mean is, this is how their mum made it, and this is how my mum makes it. So take what that from me will. It reminds me of, do you remember Armand Flint? James Carburn? And there's a bit where I don't know quite how, but somebody gets shot with a dart, and the dart has traces of bouillabaisse on it. So he goes all the way to the south of France. He ends up going to about 58 different restaurants in Marseille. Too much saffron. And ends up going until he finds out which imbecilic assassin dipped his poisoned dart into a bowl of bouillabaisse. So I mean, God, this is our version. It's ace. It's going down very well, and I am neglecting my guests. So I will see you soon.